disturbances during the meeting. Thank you, Valerie. And hello, my name is Joseph Edge. I am the chair of the Oak Grove Community Council, and welcome to the February 22nd meeting of the Oak Grove Community Council. This is our regularly scheduled general business meeting. And we have some business to take care of tonight. We have, after our officer reports, we have board elections. And then following that, we'll have our local business update, which I don't have listed here, but we do have an update and or an introduction from a local business, and then our Concord School and Library project update. We'll have some updates from our ABCs, and then hopefully some social time at the end. So the first thing I'd like to do is have the current board members introduce themselves. So I will stop sharing really quick and ask each of our board members to introduce themselves and state the name of the street that they live on. My name is Joseph Edge, and I live in the River Forest neighborhood. Valerie, please introduce yourself.
I'm Valerie Chapman, and I live on Evergreen Street, a block from the trolley trail.
Jane?
Jane Civiletti. I live on Fair Oaks Avenue.
Rich?
Rich Nippon. I live 3 blocks due south of the Fred Meyers on Oak Grove.
Okay, thank you. Our other board member is not here this evening. So we will go into our, we'll ask everybody to introduce themselves so that we can take attendance for tonight. And so again, I will read your name as it shows up here in Zoom, ask you to unmute yourself and say your first and last name and the name of the street that you live on. And then I'll ask you to mute yourself when you're done. So let's start with Baldwin, because you're unmuted right now, Baldwin.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Baldwin Vanderbile. I live on Neff Road, about 2 blocks from Stringfield Park.
Awesome. Thanks, Baldwin. Good to see you. Anita?
Anita Blackmar on Fair Oaks Avenue.
Thank you. Ann Saunders Webb?
I'm Ann Saunders, and I don't live in Oak Grove. My husband and I own the coffee shop on Oak Grove Boulevard, and soon to be the Brew Pub House on Oak Grove Boulevard.
Awesome, thank you and welcome. Cindy Becker.
I'm Cindy Becker, and I live in Salem, Oregon, so not anywhere near, but I work for county administration. I'm the project coordinator for the libraries.
Awesome, thank you and welcome. Let's see, Angie, could you unmute yourself and introduce yourself and the name of the street that you live on, please?
Hello, my name is Angie and I'm on Faith.
Could we get your last name for so that we can track you for attendance, Angie?
I'll put it in the chat.
Perfect, thank you. Cynthia, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Cynthia Quackenbush, and I live on Jennings Avenue. I'm a neighbor of Sue and Angie's in the Jennings Lodge Estates new development.
Awesome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Dave Doback.
Dave Doback, I live at Rosevilla.
Thank you and welcome, Dave. Ed Gronke.
Hi, Ed Gronke. I'm with the Jennings Lodge CPO. I live on Runners.
Thanks, Ed. Good to see you. Eleanor.
Eleanor Hunter. I live on Laurie Avenue, just south of Oak Grove Boulevard.
Thank you. Gary and Deborah.
I'm Gary Bukowski, and my wife, Deborah Bukowski, is with me here. We live just off of Jennings, from Catlin Woods. We're not in Oak Grove or Jennings Lodge, but I'm on the library task force. Deborah's the chair of the Oak Lodge Library Board.
Awesome, thank you. Greg, you're up next.
Greg Wennison, Oak Grove Boulevard between Fair Oaks and Laurie Avenue. And I think I met Cindy Becker like years ago at a health record bank or something.
Thanks, Greg. It's good to see you. Grover, you're up next. Well, we know who you are, Grover. Jason Varga, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Jason Varga. I live in Tualatin. I am the project manager for the Oak Grove Libraries in Gladstone, Oak Grove and Gladstone Libraries, and the community center.
Welcome. It's good to see you.
Thanks.
Gwian.
Gwian, I live on Evergreen at 25th Street.
Thank you. Jill. We can come back to Jill. Joyce Johnson.
Joyce Johnson, and I live on Gordon Street near Putnam High School.
Welcome. Good to see you again. Karen Olberding.
Karen Oberding, and I live on Mulberry Drive, just off River Road.
Thank you. Welcome. Marilyn.
Marilyn Gottschall. I live at Rose Villa on Laurie Avenue.
Thank you. Oh, it looks like I skipped over Linda. Could you introduce yourself, Linda?
Hi there. Hope you can hear me coming in from Arch Cape with a lot of difficulty, but Linda Newman, and I live on River Road between Rothy and Neff, and a member of the Jennings Lodge CPO.
Awesome. Thank you, Linda. We can hear you just fine.
Super.
Let's see, Sue Conahan.
Sue Conahan at Parkview Circle and River Road.
Thank you. Welcome. Sue Gary.
I'm Sue Gary. I'm on Southeast Harold Avenue, just one block south of Concord Elementary.
Awesome. Welcome. Good to see you. Sue Spitz, you're up next. We can check in with Sue in a minute. Sue, oh, there you go.
Hi, sorry. Sue
No problem.
Spitz, I live on Jennings. I'm a neighbor of Cynthia's, live in Jennings Lodge Estates.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Suzanne, you're up next.
Yes, good evening. I'm Suzanne Wolf, and I live on Southeast East Avenue.
Thank you, Suzanne. Good to see you. Thelma.
Thelma Hagan Miller. I live on the corner of Southeast Southview and Southeast Westview.
Thank you. Tom, you're up next.
I'm Tom Hogan, and I live on Oatfield between Concord and Thiessen.
Thanks, Tom. Good to see you. And then again, I'm reading what I see in the Zoom list. So up next is iPhone 13. We can check back in with you. Actually, this is are you on the phone?
Yeah, hi.
There you are.
Hey, Joseph, Quay on River Road. Sorry, I'm calling in tonight.
Oh, very good. Good to see you. Thank you. And then up next is Matt Davis. And actually, it looks like Matt may not have audio. So we'll check in with Matt and see if we can capture him for attendance. If we did not get your name for attendance, please chat Rich Nippon and let him know that you are here and give them your first and last name and the name of the street that you reside on, and we'll get you captured for attendance. So with that, we are going to head into our officer reports. See, our secretary is not here, so we will go to our treasurer. Jane, you're up next with the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Joseph. I would like to announce that we've had a donation to our treasury in the last month, amount of $50, which brings our current total in funds to $1,686.19. Uh-oh.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Jane. So up next, we have our board elections. And so that is tonight. We've been telling you about it for a while, but it is finally here. So this is open to voting members of the Oak Grove Community Council. And just to remind, members of the Oak Grove Community Council live, own property, or are the designated representative of a business located within the OGCC boundaries, and either were eligible to vote as of January 1st of last year and have attended 2 meetings in the past year, or you attended 3 meetings in 2022, or since the beginning of 2022, because we changed the bylaws in August of last year to allow you, or so that you're voting eligible after 3 meetings now. So if there's any questions, feel free to put that in the chat to Eleanor, and we'll figure this out. But this is how you know if you are able to vote tonight. And then, as always, if you're interested in serving in any capacity with the Oak Grove Community Council, please email contact@oakgrovecpo.org. And then just to remind as well that any voting member is also eligible to be nominated for a seat on the board, but will have to be present to accept the nomination. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Eleanor Hunter, who will present the nominees and conduct the election tonight.
Hey, everyone. As I'm sure you've seen from the various emails that have gone out, we're presenting a slate of candidates. This is the way we've handled elections in the past due to Zoom and all these different things. So the slate of candidates for the next 2 years, our chair is Valerie Chapman. Vice chair is Mark Elliott. I don't believe he's here tonight, but he has agreed to run. Secretary is Rich Nippon. Treasurer is Jane Civiletti. And one of the 3 directors at large is Joseph Edge. The 2 other director at large positions are still open. We accept nominations from the floor. In order to be nominated, 1, you cannot nominate yourself. And 2, you must, the person you're nominating must be here and accept being nominated. So the way we're going to handle the election is if you will private chat to me in the chat that you agree with you yay, nay, or abstain for the slate of candidates as presented for the new officers for the Oak Grove Community Council. And are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, we'll go ahead with that slate of candidates. I have had a question from Greg. I don't know, Greg, I don't know what your last name is to be able to tell you if you're a voting member or not.
Is that Greg Winnison?
Is that Greg Winnison?
That had the question? Yes. Yeah, he is.
And yes, you are.
Did 2 meetings last year, so,
yes,
or at least 2 meetings last year.
Yes, you are, Greg. So you are, please. So feel free. We have got 1 vote in so far. So just feel free to pop that in the chat or just saying, yes, you agree, or yay, nay, abstain, anything along those lines. Do that ongoing, and at the end of the meeting, we'll give you a result of the election. But in the meantime, we want to get on to the larger presentation. So thank you all very much, and I'll get back to you by the end of the meeting. Thanks.
Thank you, Eleanor. And so up next, I'd like to turn it over to Ann Saunders, who is here to give an introduction about her business on Oak Grove Boulevard. So Ann, would you like to take a few minutes to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ann Saunders. I don't know if you can, my husband's here with me. This is Joe Webb.
Hey guys.
We opened Awakening Coffee March 8th, 2 years ago, so 2021. And about a month ago, signed the lease to take over By Right grocery store, and we will be converting it over to a brew pub, which our goal and hopefully would be to have it open before summer at some point, definitely before the Oak Grove Festival, but it will be family friendly. The hours we are thinking are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. You will have a stage inside. We will have it will have a door opening up out into the field behind Awakening Coffee. So we can do outdoor concerts and indoor concerts. And we will have food. We will be able to supply meals to people. Anything else? It will have a brewery in the back. Joe is taking classes in learning to brew beer right now. In the coffee shop, we have 3 of Joe's beers that he has brewed himself. So that will expand, but we will have, Joe won't be doing all the taps. We'll probably have over 20 taps, but he will probably only do between 3 and 4 of them. So. And I believe that the brew part of it is what between HDOG and this committee is something that they went to the county with to get approved, so.
That's true. We did advocate to make sure that we could legalize brew pubs in the downtown Oak Grove area, and the county actually went for it. So I'm glad to see that. It's really exciting to hear that that's created an opportunity for you.
Yeah, a lot of work.
That's great. Anita, did you have a question for Ann?
I just want to thank you and Joe for bringing so much enhancement to downtown Oak Grove. It's a game changer. You've really been amazing.
It's our pleasure. We love it.
Yeah, we love it.
Jane, you're up next.
Yes, Ann, I saw that the coffee shop had been closed for equipment problems. I hope you're open again now.
Oh yeah, we were closed Saturday because Friday night we had a packed house and
Our drain plugged.
we had a drain that plugged up, and of course, you know, we call a plumber and they said, well, we'll be there between 8 and noon on Saturday, and we're like, okay, well, I guess we're closed.
Hey, okay,
That was all.
Yeah.
good to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions for Ann while we've got her? Okay, well, again, Ann, I think it's really exciting that you're opening a new business on Oak Grove Boulevard. You know, we're all really excited to see, you know, new life come into that part of our community, and I'm really glad that, you know, some of the advocacy that, you know, we helped affect, you know, was you know, really helped create that opportunity for you. So I'm glad to hear that, and it's great to see you here tonight. I hope that we see you more often.
And thank you, Joseph. You made the hard part of it very streamlined. Thank you so much. We can't thank you enough.
I'm glad I was able to help the way that I could. So
yeah,
thank you as well. So with that, I think we are on to the main presentation for the evening, which is Jason Varga.
All right, am I able to share my screen, do a PowerPoint?
Yeah, we'll make sure that you are. Valerie, are you able to help with that?
I'm trying to find his name in the list, sorry. That's Okay, you should be good.
There you go.
All right. All right, can everybody see my PowerPoint? Okay.
Yep.
All right, so let's, give me a second here. Okay, right. Well, first of all, thanks for letting me come to your meeting and share some of the updates we have on the Oak Lodge Library. We really appreciate it. Like I said before, my name is Jason Varga. I'm the project manager for both the Oak Lodge and Gladstone Library projects. So today, what we'll share is we'll kind of go over some of the schedule steps we have in the next few months. We'll show some pictures and share some of the design of the library. We'll talk about cost and funding issues, and then we'll discuss, we'll talk about the next steps that we have for the library. So project schedule. So currently we are, obviously we're in design for both the library, park, and community center. We've kind of broken it up to where the community center is its own design and kind of on its own schedule. For the library park, we're in the final phase of design, which is construction documents. We just started that towards the end of January, early February. And if all goes well, we should be complete with that probably by the end of May. As far as the community center goes, it's a little earlier in design, but there's not as much to it. We are in the middle phase of design, and we expect that to complete around the end of April. One big step that we're currently starting right now is conditional use for the library and the community center. That application was submitted this last January, and we are in the process of responding to some comments from the initial review. We need to do this process because it allows us, currently right now it's a residential zoning where the community center and library sit. So we have to get a conditional use that would allow for a library and community center to be on that property. We don't foresee there being any issues getting this, but we still have to go through the process. And then also concurrently with that, we'll be doing design review on the library and the park and the community center. Usually you usually do design review after conditional use, but we've been able to work with the county that they can do both basically at the same time. So we need to finish design review before we can submit for permit. Basically, you have to have that approved before they will allow you to submit your documents for permit review, which then would lead to the last step in our design. And before we get to construction is we would submit for our permits. Right now, we're looking at June or July of this year, being able to submit for that, assuming that the conditional use or design review doesn't get stretched out or we have issues to deal with. So that's the project schedule. And really after permits are approved, we can start construction. So that'll be a big step for us to get those through. So some of you have seen a lot of these sketches before, and a lot of you probably haven't. This is just a look at the overall project site. You've got the library, the new library in the center, freestanding library. the park with the playground over on this side. This is the existing school, which will be the community center, and parking area down to the west of that. Okay, so this is basically this is a view of the new library. If you basically rip the roof off and we're looking down in it, this is what you would see. So kind of walk you through. This would be coming out of the parking lot, the main entrance into the library. Back here is a community room that the idea would be that this is a room that can be used by the community for meetings at any time. There will be separate access from over here and also over here for after hours when the library is not open to be able to use that. Right here would be your entrance into the library. And there's, a few main areas. Obviously, the main collection area is in the center here. We're calling this a lounge area right here, where we'll have some seating next to these exterior windows. We'll have a teens area in this corner over here. And this will be the children's area over here. And all this space, this is a history room. It's a conference room that we're calling the history room. And the plan would be to have either some historical photos or some art pieces maybe that we would put in this room to show the history of this area. And then the rest of this here is kind of staff area in the back. And then one other thing I've heard people ask about is a seed library. We do plan on having a seed library like you do at your current Oak Lodge library. It would probably it'll probably end up somewhere over where my cursor is over here. Let's go to the next slide here. And we can always go back to these. If you guys have questions, we can come back to these slides and you can ask questions. This is an exterior view looking at, you're in front of the Concord Elementary School walking towards the library. So you see this is a new entrance to the Concord School that we are working on designing. And this is the new library here. You'll see these white squares here. Those are perforated metal screens. Behind those, we have glazing that goes, or a curtain wall that goes up to about the same height to allow just more light natural light into the building. Here's another view more in front of the Oak Lodge Library. Coming up to the entrance, you have your main plaza here and then a ramp up to the front doors on that. And like I said, here's the metal screens, and you kind of see an outline of the glazing behind it. Same over here, that goes up much higher to allow for more natural light to come into the building. Here's a view if you were walking into the library. You'd go through the outside entrance, come in, you take a left, and this would be your view as you enter the library. Couple things I'd like to point out is this wood here. These are mass timber panels. They're DLT, which is dowel laminated timber. It's a little different than CLT. Actually, the cool thing about this is you can add acoustical treatment to that, but you can still see the wood, whereas CLT and some of these others, when you need acoustical treatment, you have to usually cover those up with acoustical boards. So it's kind of a nice, neat little product that we can use to keep that look of the mass timber ceilings. You can also see up here at the roof line, we call it the clear story, a lot more glazing to let natural light. I mean, we should be this building should allow for natural light coming in all day, from every side. So, and then this big window over here will be looking out to the park to the north of the building. And this is a view a little closer to that big window wall looking out to the park. This is the teens area looking out towards the children's area. So you'll see the children's area. There's a little more casework and wood finishes to that. There's a little, it's hard to see, but little kind of stage or little area for kids to sit and read over there. And this is a teens collection area and just a lot of seating over on this end so people can have a nice view of the park from there. And then this is that lounge area looking towards the parking lot. You can see the metal screens up here and just having seating. And then there's a conference room over here that's hard to see to let people look out towards that, and it gets a lot of sunlight too. So some of the features we just wanted to mention is as I mentioned before, we have DLT, double laminated timber roof panels. We have our heating and cooling system is VRF, which is variable refrigerant flow. It's a very efficient system. We also have a heat recovery system, which basically what that is, it uses your exhaust that's heated up and it kind of preheats air that you're bringing from the outside. So it uses existing air so you don't have to use as much energy to heat up or cool the air that you have in the building. Low flow plumbing fixtures, LED lighting with integrated daylight and automatic controls. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of windows around this whole building, and so we're maximizing the amount of natural daylight that comes in this building. We have a brick veneer, which is a very durable material that should last a long time, and the perforated metal sunscreens to help reduce the amount of glare and heat gains coming into that building from the outside.
Jason,
Yeah.
somebody wanted to know if the furnishings are representational of the design are accurate.
They're not accurate yet. Basically, this is just for this model. We've put some stuff in. We still have to work on that. So the colors and everything you see aren't necessarily the colors of furniture and the exact type of furniture that we will end up at. We're just showing that to show that what kind of furniture will be in there. So we still have to make those decisions on finishes and colors for the library itself. Quick kind of go over library funding sources and budget. So these are a list of all the funding sources, and most of these haven't changed with the exception of these last two pieces, the county ARPA funds. ARPA is the American Rescue Plan Act. The county back in, I can't remember what exact time it was. It was last year. They approved the $9 million in ARPA, county ARPA funds for the project.
Yeah, October of last year.
Was it October? Okay, October from last year. And just at the end of January, we have, right now we're projecting a $5.7 million gap from all these other funds to what the total project cost we believe is right now. And so the county at the end of January approved the use of county general funds to fill in that gap. And right now we're saying it's 5.7, but we won't, until design is complete and we get all our pricing from the general contractor and our other costs, we won't know that for sure. But we hope that it's that or less maybe. But that's to come. And that 20.1 million is based off of an estimate from March of last year. So chances are it could be more, but we're still working through all that. What's next? So obviously we complete design in a few months here. We get approved for conditional use in our design review processes. We will be submitting a GMP, which is guaranteed maximum price proposal from our general contractor PNC, and we'll also have our updated project budget. That'll go to the Board of Commissioners, and they will, at that time, they will have to approve that for us to be able to move forward with the project. So we'll also be engaging. We have a subcommittee for public art for Oak Lodge. So I'm hoping this next month we can start engaging with them to get that process going. And then we got to order some long lead materials. Right now, the DLT is our one we're focusing on to get that ordered sooner than later. So with that, that was all I had for now. I want to preface this. We talked to, I think, Mark and Joe before. We will come back. We talked about coming back towards the end of May and doing another presentation with a more finished design. So right now, this is what we can share, but we do plan on coming back if you'll let us to share some more information. So I can leave it up. If anybody's got questions, hopefully I can answer them. Cindy, did you want to add anything?
Sorry.
Valerie has her hand raised. I'll go to Valerie first.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for that presentation. So my question may or may not pertain to right now, but it has to do with the books in the library and how they're going to be organized in this library. When Letting Library built a new library, they completely changed how they organized their books, which I found as an older person to be completely frustrating. So I don't go in there. It's all, they got rid of all of their categories of genres for like fiction. So historical novels or science fiction, it's all just a mishmash. And I was told I could walk by and look at the binding of the books to find them. And it was like, well, that's completely inconvenient. So I'm just curious, is there a committee that figures that out, or is that the new way to do books?
Well, I know this layout, and especially where parts of what the collection is and where they go, we have had a lot of discussions with Mitzi Olson and her crew on how that's going to look. To be honest, I feel like in our discussions that it should be the same or very similar to the way they currently run it. We haven't really talked about doing anything differently. So we're still in that process. All the ends of each shelving should have labels as to what's there. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I think it'll be the same, but I'm probably not the best person to answer that.
I'd suggest you contact Mitzi directly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I did get a question in the chat, Jason, which is what will be the capacity of the community room?
Oh, I will have to look that up. I can try to get back to you with an answer. it'll be fairly substantial. I just have to open my drawings to see what I don't recall off the top of my head what we came up with, but it should be pretty large room for that.
Cool. Let's see, Gary and Deborah, you have your hand raised.
Hi, Deborah here. The library board hasn't seen any of this. So I am publicly inviting you to make this presentation to our next board meeting, which is always the third Thursday of every month at 5:30. I'll send you a direct invitation, but I think the library board ought to see this.
Sure. A lot of these, Deborah and Gary, a lot of these drawings, there's a couple new ones, but most of them you saw when we sent it out to the task force for an update last month. So, but yeah, I have no problem if you guys want me to do that. We can.
Jason, I have the answer on the community room.
The thing is, not everybody on the board has attended the task force meetings.
Yeah, yeah.
So, thank you.
Okay. Cindy, you had a capacity?
Yeah, it's about 700 square feet. Depending on the furniture collection, it can accommodate 40 to 48 people. And as a reminder, by being next to the community center, they will be shared use of their multipurpose rooms as well.
Correct. Yep.
Can we take this off the
Oh yeah.
sharing?
I can stop, sure.
There you go.
Thanks, Jason. I had another question in the chat. Will there be an amphitheater?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the final configuration. It most likely will be directly north of the library. There's a door that will exit out into the park, and it'll be in that area. We just are still working on that final layout and how it matches up with the library.
Well, thank you. Ananda, I think you had your hand up next.
Yeah, well, the amphitheater was one thing on my mind, and I know a lot of people had this fantasy that it would be a great aspect of coordinating the park with the library. So would it be a place suitable for like movies in the park or outdoor theater or acoustic music?
Yeah, I mean, it could do all that. I think, even the movies, I think NCPRD thinks of that kind of that open field, that big open field space could be a good space for movies. But yeah, definitely there would be seating for quite a few people in that little amphitheater for music or for stuff like that. And I think even the library might have some use for it during the day for programs and having kids go out there.
Well, I was also thinking about kids programs because like at the Leading Library, when they had the taiko drummers for the kids, they could do it outside. And we didn't have that option at the Oak Lodge Library because the outdoors just is basically non-existent there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there will be areas where something like the kids programs with jugglers or taiko drumming or story time could happen in the park.
Yep, for sure.
Great. And one more thing.
Yeah.
Right now, there are some amazing sunset views or cloud views from the property. Do you know if you'll be able to watch the sunset from the library or from the park?
I would believe you could. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how, because that's looking over towards the Walmart property. So, I mean, you should be able to see over the top of all of that. So I would imagine you could.
Yeah, currently you can, but I know the park land will be reconfigured and of course.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have some trees, I think, to screen a little bit of Walmart, but I don't think it'll block everything.
Okay.
If that's what we're concerned with.
And if you don't mind, one more question. Have you pictured what's going to go in the courtyard between the two buildings?
We've discussed it. It's still, we're trying to figure out what will go there yet. We don't have, I wouldn't say I even have enough to share ideas right now. We're just starting to talk about that with the library and then CPRD, what will go in between there.
And Cindy let me know that the kids area is going to have some mirrors and imaginative things, some maybe things from the ceiling.
What, me?
Wasn't it? Well, I got a reply to my question about the kids area. That, let's see, did I write it down? Something about, I think there was some mirrors and some, I don't know, cozy little areas and maybe something that's worked coming down from the ceiling. No? Remember?
What you may have seen in that picture, these little yellow
Right.
is kind of floating. It's an idea of maybe some kind of artistic little feature in the children's area. It's not a for sure thing yet, but we're trying to see if we can add something like that to give some interest to that area for the kids. So there's nothing that's been finalized as far as that, but we definitely want to try to bring something there that's a little interesting for the kids.
Yeah, there's a lot of material online about imaginative things done in library in the kids section. So what I got, somehow I got it from you, Cindy, but anyway, I won't say it's something you wrote, but anyway, it's in that PDF that we exchanged. It sounded kind of exciting. I like that. Okay, enough from me.
Thanks, Anna. Joyce, you're up next.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. And I'm wondering, are any of these drawings and these ideas being posted online for other people to look at who are not at this meeting? Is there a place where sort of progress sketches are happening?
We have been posting them online, and we can see about, I mean, for this presentation, I was planning on getting you guys a copy of it so that it can be, if Joe can post it on your guys' website. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Thank you.
Also the
All the
county's
information,
website.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Cindy. Yeah, all the information that has been sent to the task forces, which includes the drawings, are online on the project website, and I'll put that link in the chat.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Kay, you're up next. Looks like you're muted, Kay.
Thought I unmuted.
There you go.
Okay, now in the last screen near the bottom of the list, you had art presentations or art, soliciting art, and you said we'll start talking with them. Who are them?
so we have actually Anita is one of the members, but we have from the task force, we have a subcommittee that we will work with to kind of the process is we got to determine a budget for public art and then determine where we think good sites on the project within the building, outside the building would be for public art. And we have this subcommittee kind of help us with that process to figure that out. And then once we get through all that and talking about, you know, themes or what we feel would be appropriate, then we'll go out for RFQs to hire an artist and commission them to do some work for it. So
Is there a way that that committee is involving public input?
yeah, and I think that's what we'll talk about a little bit, but I think we've had it where the public could attend these meetings. They're not necessarily participating, but it's open to the public to attend and listen in if they want.
So how do we find out about that?
We'll have to get, I'll have to think about that. We usually send notices out to the members, and it might be up to members of the task force to get it out. I don't know, Ellen, if we blast that stuff out to everybody that's on our mailing list, or
We do actually, we have an interested parties mailing list. If you're not on it, you probably should be, if you're not on the committee, if you're interested. And yes, we send out information when we're looking for volunteers or when we have any kind of meetings coming up related to the project, so people can come and listen in.
I still don't know how one accesses that.
I'll put that link in the chat too.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
And I have another question. In the scenes that showed the people standing out in front of the library and the school building, it looks as if it's flat, and yet there is really quite a difference in elevation between the parking and the front of the library as I see it now. So how is that being dealt with, and how is handicapped access being worked into that?
well, we have to build everything ADA accessible. So basically, we're going to achieve that through a lot of grading. We're going to have to cut down a bit. It's hard to see, but where the ground comes up to that corner that we're talking about putting a new entry, we're going to take that down about 3 feet from where it is currently. And then that should marry up with the parking lot at an acceptable ADA for ADA access to the building. So yeah, everything we build will be ADA accessible.
So there'll be stairs, there'll be levels. I mean, I can't tell from the design.
It's either flat sidewalk or we'll have ramps that when you build ramps, you can only build to a certain grade or a certain gradient on them. So we will build to what the code allows us to on that. But basically, to get up from that main concrete plaza to the library, there is a ramp to get up there, a pretty wide ramp.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Kay. Greg, you're up next.
Just a quick question about the budget. I think the estimate I saw was a year old.
Yeah.
This is going to be at least a year before you're breaking ground. So you've got a 2-year-old estimate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a built-in escalation factor for that?
Yeah, I mean, even that number, we include contingencies for escalation, for contingencies for design not being complete. So there are contingencies built into that number. So the idea is, as we get closer to our final number, we just hopefully just use the contingency up so that price doesn't keep going up and up. But yeah, we are including contingencies when we budget.
But the budget is, the project is being rebid. So we're not basing this on last year. The project is being rebid soon, this spring.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the estimates we'll be bringing to the board for approval.
Yeah. So yeah, within a few months, we should have a pretty good idea of what that final budget is going to be. The good thing is material costs have been somewhat stabilizing for the most part. Labor costs have not gone down necessarily, but yeah, things were really crazy a year ago, and they've settled down a bit, but not gone down. Any other questions?
Sure, I'll ask a question and maybe a follow-up question. How many parking spaces are proposed in that new parking area?
I believe we're at like 180 somewhere around 180 parking spaces throughout the site.
How was that number arrived at?
It was initially based off of some calculations, but we have a traffic engineer. It's based off of some calculations of occupancy of the libraries and the community center, and using some standard rates is based basically off of square footages of buildings in certain spaces and the amount of parking spaces you have to have for that.
Is that based off of that national standard, or is it based
Yeah,
off of
I
analysis?
want to say it's like ITE, like International Traffic Engineer Standard. An interesting thing that the state of Oregon just passed about is there's really no, if you're close to a transportation corridor, there really is no minimum parking standards you have to meet depending on the location. So we would qualify that. We're obviously not going to have no parking, but yeah, we're looking at, I think it's 180, right around there.
Yeah, and since you mentioned using the ITE standard, that is notoriously overestimated. And, we might want to consider, doing a more specific study, for library district customers to see how they arrive at the library and what we think our parking might be here, because that's a lot of parking, and we lose, a lot of opportunity for open space, landscaping, playground area, by paving over it for parking that may not be used. And so I think that's an important consideration.
I think why we appreciate that. We've also been told by others that it's not enough parking. And so because we've got kind of this campus, if you will, and the community center, it's not just the library in and of itself. So because of the community center interplay, that's why it was expanded.
Yeah, notwithstanding the ITE standards are always overblown. And so I would just keep that in mind, that we may not have to build that much parking.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Jason before we let him go? All right, well, thank you so much for coming 3 months earlier than you had originally agreed to do.
Yeah, no problem.
There's obviously a lot of interest in this project, and we wanted to make sure to get the information out in front of people as quickly as we could. And so thanks again for working with us to be here tonight.
Yeah, no, we are excited. We're glad this thing is moving in a positive direction. So yeah, we're really looking forward to getting this thing to where we're breaking ground and building. Hopefully later this year. We'll see.
Cool. Well, thanks again. And we look forward to having you back for updates, probably as often as you want to return to give them. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, we will now move ahead in our meeting agenda. Let me get my screen share going again. Okay, so we're going to go through, actually what I'll probably do is not share the screen. I'll just go through the list and ask each of our committee representatives to provide an update if they have one. So well, I just shared my screen. I'll stop sharing really quick again. And I'll just ask, let's see, is Brian here tonight? I don't think I saw Brian here tonight. So we'll go past the fire department and
hey Joseph.
Yeah.
I'm representing Brian tonight. My name is Lieutenant Matt Davis.
Oh, hi Matt.
Sorry, we just joined. We've been extremely busy since the snow started. So
yeah,
I'll make it real quick, and then we're going to probably be getting back to calls very soon here.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Thank you.
So Brian wanted me to share a few things. First, I think last time you guys had met, there was a question about using our meeting room. and the Wi-Fi. He wanted me to pass on that the district does not provide public Wi-Fi in our meeting room. We do have good cell phone service in there, so you should be able to get full bars as long as you have AT&T or Verizon or anything like that. So that was just something he wanted me to correct from one of your last meetings. And then they've got a few February talking points they'd like me to go over. Most of this data is coming from December. With just the increased call volumes, we ran 2,881 calls in the month of December. That was 400 more than the month of November. We continue to see an increase in call volume every year. The month for 2022, we saw 2,800 calls. 2021 was 26,968 calls. Most of those calls are being EMS calls. And just to give you an example, EMS calls for 2022 was 18,974, as opposed to 2021, 17,307 calls, 2020, 15,034 calls. So every year we're just increasing our EMS calls. So brings up another point down towards the bottom of why we're asking for additional firefighters in our levy. So I'll bring that up here in just a second here. So the month of February, the district's pushing out a message of trying to get everyone to learn hands-only CPR. There were 36,000 or 356,000 out of hospital cardiac arrests each year. Out of those 356,000, 46 received bystander CPR. If you receive bystander CPR, your chances of living go up by 50%. If you get an AED shock by someone either with an AED or by the fire department, your chances of living go up by 3 times. So we're encouraging the community to learn hands-only CPR. This is something that the fire department has courses on that we send out. And then also Red Cross also does some of those classes also. So it's important to learn that hands-only CPR. You don't have to do any mouth-to-mouth or anything like that. It's just pushing on the chest. The January board meeting, the Clackamas Fire Board approved to refer a vote for a levy on the May 2023 ballot. This would increase firefighting staffing. And then we did just hire 15 new firefighters to the Clackamas Fire District. They all started about a month ago. And these positions are replacing vacant positions. They are not increasing our response force as it was of last year. Those are all the talking points they gave me. Are there any questions you guys have for the fire district that I can help or I can refer them to Brian to get back to you?
Any questions for Matt while we've got him? Okay, doesn't sound like it, Matt. If we do, we can definitely email Brian.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate having you come in.
Thank you.
Let's see, up next, I'll ask Rich to give a CERT update.
Okay, well, first of all, I just found out from Greg that we have a basic class for CERT. CERT is the Community Emergency Response Team. On May 16th, 13th, and the 20th, plus we have 4 new instructors in our CERT that have just passed the basic instructor course. So that just came into me. Last update I had from CERT was that there are antenna kits available for the people who have GMRS radios for $20. And let's see, we have a battery box group. They discussed several options for creating an emergency power station for the different teams that we have in the Oak Grove community, Oak Lodge community, really. It goes beyond Oak Grove. And we're still working on the map your neighborhood so that in case of an emergency, your neighbors are most likely going to be the people that you help or that help you. And so knowing your neighbors is a critical thing. If you'd like help in learning how to approach your neighbors, contact CERT locally. It's the Oak Lodge CERT team. That's it for CERT. You want me to go on to the CCI and CPO Summit?
Yes, please. That'd be great.
Okay. Well, CCI, which is the Citizens for Community Involvement, we received a report called Engage Clackamas. The county hired a consultant to try to help us make community engagement more realistic. And we received the report. We haven't discussed the report yet, but we did receive it at our meeting just the other night. And then our next meeting will be a discussion of it with PGA and with the different members. The part of that is the thinking about what the purpose of CPOs is. The Oak Grove Community Council is a CPO, a planning organization, and it can be, and in our case is often more than just a planning organization. And there's a discussion about sort of making that official. As far as the CPO Summit, they're still trying to activate or reactivate the communities that are no longer current, that haven't been meeting, and helping them to become active again. And they're talking about creating training courses for people who are interested in becoming parts of CPOs. And judging by the fact that we have 2 vacancies that nobody ran for, it would be a good idea if some people got to understand exactly what goes into making a CPO work and what they can do and how they can become involved, and offer that training so people don't have to feel like, well, I don't know what's going on, so I wouldn't do that. So we're always looking for people to volunteer. I can tell you as a volunteer, it doesn't take that much work, but it does take more work than not being a volunteer, but it lets you get used to your community. So I encourage anybody who's listening, and we have a good audience, please, reach out and become involved. I think that's it for me.
All right, thanks, Rich. Appreciate that. Let's see. So the update from the Economic Development Commission is that they're on hiatus. Were you going to say that, Valerie?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. They're on hiatus. So they're trying to determine what their purpose is and going back to figuring out how to work together. So I think it's a good choice on their part.
Okay, thanks for that update. And Suzanne, you're up next with an update from HDOG.
Sure. And then Joseph, I know that Mark's not here tonight to speak about the festival, so I can also address that real quick as well. Anyway, 3 things for HDOG, and for those of you who may not know, that stands for Historic Downtown Oak Grove. We are the neighborhood nonprofit 501c3. And our mission basically is to revitalize the downtown, historic downtown area, and also to establish a positive social and community and economic growth for the businesses and residents of all of Oak Grove. 3 things. We just launched a new website, hdog.org, and it is not complete. We wanted to get it launched so that we could have available to the vendors and the sponsors for our festival this summer the information and the applications that they would need in order to participate. And so take a look at hdog.org if you would like. Just know that it is not totally complete or updated. The second thing is that tomorrow at 3 o'clock, there will be a virtual HDOG board meeting. You're invited to come to that. That is open to the public. If you would like to attend, just email me a request for the Zoom invite for that. So we would love to have you join us if you would like. I think primarily what will be on our agenda for tomorrow's board meeting is to narrow down our initiatives, our goals initiatives for this year, so that we can make a decision on projects that would be doable for HDOG to complete within this time period, or within the 2022 and into the beginning of 23. So let's try 23 and then let's go into 24 with that. Okay, and then finally, the festival. For those of you who may not know yet, there will be a summer festival. The name has changed from the Oak Grove Trolley Trail Festival to just the Oak Grove Festival. It will be on a Saturday again, July 15th, so the middle of July, from 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock, the same time. We're still at the beginning stages of planning. However, things are going to, I think, look similar to what we had accomplished or achieved last year, except for maybe two things. One is that we are hoping to have an increase in the number of vendors, particularly artisan vendors this year. Last year, there were a total of 58 vendors, and we hope to reach at least 80, if not more, this year. And then also too, what will be different, or at least we're planning at this point, it's not official, but we are intending to extend the length of the festival grounds from Rupert all the way to River Road. So if you're interested in more information about the summer festival, we do have a page on our website. And then, of course, if you follow Facebook, we are keeping the public up to date via Facebook. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Suzanne. It's good to hear about the festival coming up. Anada, you are up next with NCPRD and then the library district.
Okay, well, related to HDOG, HDOG has helped in advocacy for a park to possibly happen at New Urban High School, which is in downtown Oak Grove. And the NCPRD is in talks with the school district right now. And nothing's been settled, but if an agreement is reached, then they're anticipating construction might begin as early as April 2025 and go through March of 2026. And as far as Riverville Park, which is also in Oak Grove, some neighbors have requested that the gates close automatically at night. NCPRD is looking into the cost, but it's not a high priority compared to some of the other things that NCPRD is dealing with. So that's an unknown whether that will happen. And then just in general district-wide news, some other residents have requested a ban on smoking in parks. And there again, NCPRD is a little bit reluctant about that. But there are some smoking bans in parks in other districts, including Hillsborough. So that's still sort of on the table. And then in addition, some other residents have expressed concern about pesticides and herbicides in the park. So NCPRD gave a a pretty thorough presentation to the DAC. Let's see, it was in January. So if you want to see their presentation about the integrated pesticide management program that's used in the whole district, you can go to the DAC meeting packet on the NCPRD website. So I think that's enough of parks. And library basically is rejoicing about funding.
Cool. Thanks, Anita. Let's see. I think up next we have Heidi. Do you have an update from Oak Lodge Water?
No update, but happy to come anytime and present any updates that you need. As you know, we're just getting ready for our budget committee. It's going to be kicking off in the next month, so more to come.
Thank you. And then let's see, I have a quick update from the Pedestrian Bikeway Advisory Committee, which is, let's see, where did this go? There is, through the end of the month, there is a survey for the Walk Bike Clackamas Plan, which is the first update to the bicycle and pedestrian master plan for the county in over 20 years. So, so this is kind of a big deal and probably won't get updated again for 20 years. So through the end of the month, please take a survey to let the county know what your priorities are, and this can even get down to project specific priorities. There's a map that you can look at and suggest projects or comment on projects. So I would strongly encourage all of you to take a look, and we will, let's see, I'll get the link into the chat and we'll send it out in a follow-up email as well. And then with that, I'd like to turn it over to Eleanor to talk about election results.
Well, hey, everyone. Thanks so much for voting, all of you who did and who are eligible to do so. And drum roll, please. Yes, the slate of candidates was unanimously accepted. So thank you enormously to Valerie and Mark and Rich and Jane and Joseph for continuing on the fabulous work of the Oak Grove Community Council. And we'll be looking for 2 additional directors at large, and we'll bring you that information as things develop. So thank you enormously for everyone again for voting, and thank you enormously for the service of the new board of the Board of Directors of the Oak Grove Community Council. Thank you. And congratulations.
Thank you, Eleanor. Valerie, I see that your hand is raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to take this moment to say to Joseph how much his leadership in the last 4 years has been appreciated. I think it's been appreciated by everybody on the board, and the immense amount of knowledge that you have brought to the board in areas of planning and is not replaceable. So I also a sincere gratitude to you that you are staying on the board and are willing to do LUART work. So I just want to thank you. And I know the whole board and others. So thanks very much, Joseph.
Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure to serve in this role for 4 years. And again, it started off when we were meeting in person at Rose Villa, and we did that for a year, and then it's been about 3 years like this. So thanks everyone on the board that has been serving over that time, including some other members too, like Greg, who served for a couple years and then hasn't served the last couple of years. Appreciate your service as well. I'm really excited to hand the torch over to Valerie, and see it's healthy, I think, for organizations like ours to cycle people over leadership roles, and 4 years is enough time. So I'm happy to turn it over to Valerie and see where this goes from here, and happy to continue supporting the organization, particularly with the land use application reviews. I'm really excited to be able to focus on that again. So with that, I think we are down to announcements from the floor. Anybody with any announcements? I'm looking at you, Thelma. Go for it.
Yeah, I trying to unmute myself here. The major thing that I want to announce is that after many years of not being active, the North Clackamas Parks and Rec District has resurrected its Adopt a Park program, and it's now on their website. So any of you who want to adopt a park or a section of a trail, for instance, their rules and regulations are printed on the website. So go look them up. That's it.
Thank you, Thelma. Suzanne, you're up next.
Yes, I just wanted to add one more thing here. HDOG will be holding their election for new board members at the end of March. We are interested in taking nominees at this time. We do not have on our new website the application process set up for that, but we will be setting that up shortly, very soon. And so if you would like to serve on the HDOG board, we have the president as well as the vice president positions open. And also too, we have one director at large position open. So we welcome anybody who would like to serve on our board. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Suzanne. Eleanor.
Well, it's not necessarily an announcement, but it's a comment that I just wanted to really thank Anne and Joe for providing so much of their energy and love and support to the community, and the idea of having a brew pub and the opening of the field back there and everything. I know it's a lot of paperwork and everything to do, and I just really wanted to thank you for helping to create another type of community center. I mean, in addition to the library and things like that, there are so few third spaces in this area where people can congregate and visit with their neighbors, and I just really appreciate your efforts in that, and everybody's collective work to try to get more parks and things like that. So there's so many different ways to help and serve and benefit this area. So thanks everyone for doing that. Yeah.
Thank you, Eleanor.
Sure. I think that's it.
Are there other announcements from the floor? Okay, so let's see. We had last thing I have is upcoming meetings. So the next meeting that we have is the board meeting, which will be on March 6th, Monday, March 6th. And that will be the first meeting of the board in its with everybody in their new roles. And then we will set a board meeting schedule at that point. And then on March 22nd, 1 month from today, we will be back here meeting on Zoom with Valerie leading the way. So we look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you all